Hello, chess friends. So let's have a look at a game played between Anand and Felix in 1993. This was a really great aggressive game. If you want to learn something about attack, this game can teach you a lot. So it was white to play. As you can see, white's bishops are trained in the center and they are looking directly towards the black king. And basically, there are a lot of tactical motives that are going to work here. So without any further ado, let's get going and let's get started. It's white to play, and Anand here found a brilliant way to open the position up. Again, you can see there is the annihilation of defender as well as there is a discovered check. You can see the bishop on d4 is just waiting. Whenever this pawn we move, the bishop will be able to give a deadly check, and that will be that. So, how do we continue here? What should you play here? How can you break through the opponent's barrier? Well, if you said bishop takes h7, you're absolutely right. This is the first move. This is what was played by Vishwanathan Anand, but it's not a move that you should calculate in isolation. In fact, the follow-up is what really matters. So now rook takes is the only option, only sensible option. And here we go. The point of sacrificing the bishop was simply to open up the bishop on d4. So you continue with f7, an excellent move, basically blocking the queen out of the defense. The queen can't really access the g7 square, and now this is deadly. Well, there are very few options. As you can see, the rook on h7 is pinned over here. It can't really do much. Knight g7 is the only option that has to be played. And you might ask, well, what about bishop to e5? Doesn't this work? It doesn't, because the bishop on d6 was actually doing a very important defensive task. And now that it has moved, you can simply promote and win the game in one move. So the bishop can't really come to e5. The only option is knight to g7. And how do we continue now? Just take a few seconds, try to pause the video, and try to find the move that Anand played here. Alright, so here we go. Bishop takes on g7, and that's an excellent move. Again, using the pin, we know that the rook can't capture, and the king will have to take it. And after that happens, basically the king is attracted. It's called as a magnetic sacrifice. You attract the opponent's king into the wild, and now there are deadly threats all over the board. Basically, it starts with knight to f5 check. King has to move. Let's say the king goes to h8. That is an instant checkmate with rook to g8. So that can't happen. Well, the king basically can't even come to here or here. The only logical idea is to continue with king takes f7. But in that case, we can simply continue with queen h7 check, and let's say something like this, then knight d4 check. There are two options for the black king. Both of them lose in different ways. Let's have a look at king e5 first. In that case, we have queen to f5, dragging him further down the board. And after he takes, as you can see, the king is trying to run off from here. So we stop him from doing that by playing queen f2 check. King tries to go back, but obviously it's too late. Now we can play rook to e1, and that is a checkmate. By the way, in this position, you can also go to c4, but that doesn't help because of the simple tiny move b3, and that would be a checkmate. All right, so that doesn't help. Well, in this position, after knight to d4 check, as we have said, he can also go to the f6 square. This time, checkmates happen on the back rank with queen f5 check. As you can see, the rook controls the entire g file. The king has nowhere other than e7, so king e7, queen e6 check. We throw him on the back rank, something like king f8, instantly loses to rook g8 checkmate. There is no hope over there. And something like king to d8. We just have rook g8 again, bishop blocks, and we grab it with it the entire point. So basically, it was after bishop takes g7 that his opponent Felix resigned over here, seeing that there is no hope, no escape from checkmate. So he just resigned over there. So that was a great game played by Vishwanathan Anand, and this move bishop takes h7 was the one to start the attack. But of course, you have to calculate. You must be sure while you sacrifice, you must be sure that is working. You just can't play this kind of moves at just by intuition, because there has to be a follow-up. After all, black's pieces are more or less developed and they are able to come to the defense. So bishop takes h7 is something that you must carefully calculate. And hope you enjoyed this game. Thank you for watching, and do subscribe to my YouTube channel. More videos are on the way. Until next time.